water away. Bear with me. Ah. All right. So, I'm sure you saw the title of the stream. You probably had your attention piqued. Making myself some rice here for some regularity. Don't ask questions you don't want the answers to. But, yeah, I'm a Christian nationalist. But what you might be thinking when I say that, I want you to hear me out on this. So when I say I'm a Christian nationalist, what I don't mean is I want everybody in the nation to become a Christian and have Christian laws imposed on them. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. I'm a Christian nationalist in the sense that I want our representatives to fear God. There's a saying that's stuck with me. I don't know if this was from the Spirit. I don't know if I heard this from somebody else and forgot it and it's just been floating in my subconscious. I don't know if I came up with it myself. But the saying goes, if you desire the Father's favor, do well by his children. Hi, Dragon. How you doing, bud? So what that means is we, you, we are all the children of God, right? God considers us all to be his offspring, his creation, his beloved. And so when you have representatives that recognize this, they want to, if they're morally and theologically consistent, and their faith is a faith instead of a religion, they're gonna try to do right by absolutely everyone they can. The problem with secular authority is that they kind of take up the role of God without any of the character attributions that God is known for. We can go in circles about how God is. People have all sorts of negative attributions towards God. I'm no stranger to this, but growing up, becoming an adult, I recognize that the failings are the world's, not God's. If the world were to capitulate right now to his will, the suffering would stop. Full stop. The problem is, to get there, we need to change. Our modus operandi as a collective is unfortunately, to varying degrees, pathological. We tear each other down without realizing it. We create problems without realizing it. Or we do and we just don't care. The objective, therefore, is that we recognize our sin and walk away from it. That we start walking the pathology out. It isn't just about doing bad things. It's also about destroying ourselves, our bodies, our minds, destroying our communities, sowing discord and strife, anguish, anything that tears the fabric of reality and its inhabitants down. That's what we're trying to work out. The thing with Christian nationalism, I am not advocating for a Christian version of Sharia law where you have to marry the person of the opposite sex. Like, I'm not imposing a bunch of laws on the people. Exactly the opposite. Rather, I want to impose structure on the government that forces the government to fear God. What this means is no matter if you're the president, if you're the highest elected official in the legislative or the judicial system, no matter where you are in government, you recognize that there's an authority greater than you. Whatever that ends up meaning. I'm not telling you to interpret God a certain way, but I am telling you this. If you want to do right by the Father, that's God, however you want to interpret that, do well by his kids. Full stop. So I'm not trying to impose this on the rest of the world, just the U.S. Just make the U.S. a place where the representatives are vetted and proven not to be wolves in sheep's clothing. And the moment they show those signs, pressure comes back to bite them. But rather that they see every living citizen, even the less presentable, the less honorable ones, as worthy of love appreciation, care, respect, and the same kind of reverence that God gives all of his kids. Are there people who are just jackasses and problems? Yes, absolutely. But until we're put to the wall regarding them, we should not impose on them. We need to defend ourselves, right? I want to be clear and I want to be exact here. We need to defend ourselves. We need to keep our own boundaries. We can't let ourselves be walked on. We can't let the law become suggestive and have no justice whatsoever. But mercy and respect for all living beings. And you can agree with this on both sides of the aisle. The problem with the left right now is they are becoming the very monsters they want to hunt. I want to advocate you guys be very careful about throwing the term fascist around. I know a lot of modern definitions, that's a piece of glass, let's throw that away, all lean into the far right ideology. I want you to ignore that part of the equation or that part of the definition for now and just focus on the functional aspects. Whether we say far right or far left, we've argued whether the parties have flipped or whether the parties have, all right, so whether the parties have flipped or not, let's just recognize a tree by its fruit. If you are killing political dissidents like Charlie Kirk, then you are fitting the definition of fascism by its clause of silencing political dissidents, right? I'm not advocating that this is only a left problem. This is left and right. This is going on both sides. But for the most part, the left is mostly guilty of this recently. Not saying it hasn't gone the other way. Not saying it won't. But that's what I'm recognizing right now. The right isn't assassinating people for what they're saying. We can argue whether the whole ICE thing is an assassination or not. It's a different context. It's a hotter, more immediate, more threat-bound thing. Whereas shooting somebody in the neck from 200 yards while they're talking peacefully on a college campus, you can't make a correlation there. You can't say those are equivalent. Whether Alex Preddy or some of these others needed to die, that's up for debate. I'm actually not going to weigh in too much on that. My personal opinions on that are a bit more nuanced. I think we can have better ROE, we can have better safety practices for officers that keep people and officers alive and out of harm's way as much as possible. Hey, Monoxide. What is happening? I'm talking about some political stuff, some political nonsense. So Christian nationalism, I'm not trying to impose on the people, exactly the opposite. I'm trying to impose on the government so that they don't become God or see themselves that way. Full stop. I want people representing me who believe I and my neighbor and my friends and the people I don't like even are all the children of God. We're not going to play favorites. We're not going to kowtow to the people who are politically convenient to us. We're going to do our jobs right, faithfully, and as if in service to the Lord. How we interpret God, whether that's just a functional secular interpretation or a literal faith, I don't care. You're going to treat the people as if mistreating them has severe, permanent, existential consequences. It's that simple. That's the kind of Christian nationalist I am. And I would like to see, right, this isn't an imposition, this is a desire. I would like to see circumstances drive people towards faith. I don't want to impose faith as the caliphate does. There is no convert or kill. If I'm pushing a crusade, it's to take back countries I've already seen taken. It's to take back Germany, the UK, to restore the old kingdom of Constantinople from its insurgents. And you can't look at the UK today and not say that there's a problem. They want to say it's far right. I think it's not about far right or far left anymore. It's about the kingdom of Constantinople losing touch with its identity and capitulating to an expanding authority that has no business there. Keep people where they belong and stop letting them expand all over the place. I don't want the US to have an empire all over the world. I don't. I'm not interested in stopping nuclear war all over the world. I'm not interested in being the world's police. What I'm interested in is being a force for good here at home, first and foremost, that protects its citizens and its children. And if we have our house cleaned and there's somebody in another house asking for help, maybe then we can step in. All this stuff with ICE and immigration right now, I think it's a red herring. Is it awful? Yes. But it's a distraction from what's happening in Iran right now. Right now, the Persian people, I refuse to call them Iranians anymore. The Persians are sick of the Ayatollah, are sick of the Islamic rule over them, are sick of this sort of imposition I want to do away with. And we pay them no mind. I want to say the latest numbers are over 30,000 protesters killed. Not violent, right? We can argue whether the protesters here are violent or not. There's all sorts of debate on that. Very clearly, 20 to 30,000 fucking citizens dead for protesting their government. There is no correlation, no comparison between what we have in our couple of people killed in hot circumstances and just an outright fucking genocide by a government that refuses to be told no. Y'all get the distinction? Y'all get what I'm getting at here? I'm not saying that what's happening here isn't awful. I'm not saying everything the ICE officers are doing is right or that everything the protesters are doing is wrong. I think there's nuance. I think that there's more to the story. And I know the internet hates nuance. But I'm going to say what I'm going to say boldly. Yes, I'm a Christian nationalist, not because I want to impose laws on the people, but because I want to impose a certain kind of structure and reverence for the citizens on the government. Y'all get it? You, the viewer, regardless of your political orientation, I see as a child of God, loved by the Creator, and therefore deserving and worthy of the respect that entails. You are not to be considered another piece of livestock, another piece of property, another ticket in a voting booth. Fuck that. You are a human being, a living creature, and divine heir of the Creator. You were meant to inherit better than what we've got. All of you, every last one of you, whether you live up to that calling or not is on you. I'm not trying to impose a religion. I'm trying to impose a respect. Y'all get it? Christian nationalism ain't so bad, but we got to fight this front on both sides of the war. You have people trying to invade from outside, and you have people trying to poison us from inside. We got to kill the wolves in sheep's clothing, and we got to kill the rams too. Or kills may be the wrong language. Hold accountable and bring to justice. Right? If they want to feed off the sheep, as in the people who, in their limitations, have to follow trends, then we as the sheepdogs have to keep those people secure. By biting back at the wolves and butting heads with the rams. Y'all get it? God is good. God loves each and every one of you, not as an imposition, but as a genuine reverence for your life and the energy you put into you. You're all unique. You're not supposed to be cookie cutter. You're not supposed to be replaceable. You're supposed to be irreplaceable. Find your divine identity, not as something to chuff yourself out, but to flesh yourself out the way you were designed. Be unique citizens with unique perspectives. Don't follow trends. Set your own. Take it from somebody with a growing YouTube channel. Making waves isn't about having a perfect interpretation or a perfect method or a perfect science or any of that. It's about being authentic, thinking originally, having the courage to stop operating on programming and start thinking logically and setting your own programs. Recognize that if you can be brainwashed, which everybody can, then you can brainwash yourself. And if mammon wants to own us all, then the solution to God money's attempt for overthrowing us is to have a head like a hole. Something that they can throw shit at and nothing sticks because we've already brainwashed ourselves. That takes courage, though. That takes deliberation. That takes the willingness to walk on water and risk drowning. Y'all understand what I'm telling you here? You have to be bold enough to lose your footing with the reality you thought you knew and move instead towards the truth. Whatever it is, the truth, whether we like it or not. Because the truth cannot be argued against, cannot be replaced. And there is such a thing as truth. Science does uncover physical truths, epistemological truths. Philosophy is another tool. We need to do the leg work and the head work to get where we need to go. But ultimately, yes, I'm a Christian nationalist in the way that every human being deserves the sort of respect as if they were the Son of God. Full stop. It says in my Bible, what you have done to the least of these, you have done it to me. That's Jesus speaking. That's my guy. And what you have done for the least of the people, you have done for me. So when churches treat new members like livestock or like miserable sinners that they need to fix, they're getting it wrong. Most of the churches, folks, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be upfront with you. Most of the churches get it wrong because most of the churches are still worldly. They're still operating in the man's methods of securing and maintaining power. A proper church, let's go. They protect what they need to protect, but they're not the authority. They're just sheepdog. When the shepherd comes around, they respond to him. They stay by his side. They don't go off and do their own thing. Dig where the shepherd says not to dig. Bite the sheep when he says not to bite them. And if a sheepdog is biting the sheep when they're not supposed to get nipped at, yes, a sheepdog might nip at the ankles of the sheep to get them away from danger. It's not to attack them, it's to get them to stay away from what could kill them. That's a pastor's role. He's supposed to maybe instill a little bit of healthy fear for the right reasons. I see you, Dragon. I'm going. I see you. I can't respond to everything, right? Because then I wouldn't ever have anything to say. But the whole purpose, folks, is this simple. To treat every human being as if they were the Son of God, because they are. Jesus himself kind of indicated that. And the more you read the Bible, the more simple the message becomes. It's very simple. Like he sums it up himself. Jesus says, love one another as I have loved you. That's the interpersonal. The one that came before that, love God with all your heart, strength, mind, soul. So put all of your being into revering creation and existence itself. Life itself, right? So we can distinguish creation from creator, but at the same time, to love God is to love who he's given us. And even the people we don't like need love. Otherwise, what good is it? What good is it? If we're just fighting those that we don't like all the time, what does our faith say about us? But if we can love those who do wrong by us, then we have a transcendent strategy. I'm not saying it's easy, man. I struggle with this myself, right? I'll be the first to say I can be an asshole sometimes, properly. Sometimes you gotta be. Some people really just don't respect you at all and will walk over your boundaries and put your life in danger just because they feel like it. And for some of those people, Barking and baring your teeth isn't being an asshole, it's being wise. It's recognizing this person will escalate and step all over me if I allow him to. So there's nuance. There's nuance to all of this. But in regards to the Christian nationalism, push away that which imposes on the people, but embrace that which treats the people as the divine sons and the divine daughters and the divine theys and thems. Right? I'm not gonna impose anything about gay marriage, anything about adult gender ideology. Stay away from the fucking kids, folks. But if you're an adult and you're insistent on what I consider self-mutilation, look, I'm not going to be the guy to stop you. I'm not going to tell you don't pursue your happiness. But as a friend, if you come asking me as a friend, I would tell you don't do it. You're going to regret it. Most of the people that I've seen do it regretted it later, and it comes with health complications. All right, but that's a subject of its own story. Point is, I'm not trying to impose anything. In fact, I pushed for gay marriage because I wanted people to see love. And if people, right, I see it this way. There's homosexuals and there's people who love each other. There's dogs and there's golden retrievers. And they're not the same. My so-called gay friends, I don't see them as homosexuals as described by the Bible because they don't make it their primary focus, their lifestyle, their all-consuming God. But there most certainly are people who do that. I'm not going to be one to impose and say, don't do that. I'm not right. I'm not going to support a church supporting gay marriage, but I don't want to impose. The whole point is, like, I love you. I don't necessarily support your lifestyle, but who the hell am I to impose about it? That's the kind of Christian national I am. People have their opinions. I'm not endorsing it, but I am saying I don't want to impose where it is unwise to impose. Full stop. I'll say this too. There's a lot of dysfunctional straight marriages, and I would prefer that some of those kids go to gay couples who would take much better care of them. Full stop. Right? Life is complicated like that. That's my interpretation on some of that. I've seen some gay couples that raise their kids way better than a lot of straight couples do. But I also recognize the biological and social design as well. That's why I believe some of the things that I believe. I believe in monogamy, I believe in straight marriage, and I believe that these things ultimately produce the best biological and social results. But I can't impose, or I'm making myself an enemy of people. You get where I'm coming from? Is this nuanced position of I can't support, but I won't impose. Other things, when it comes to government who imposes on us to certain degrees, we have to impose back because we can't let it become autocratic. So we want to talk about fascism again. Autocracy is one of the hallmarks of fascism. And unfortunately, I don't necessarily see the right becoming autocratic. There could be some domains in which that could happen, but once it starts slipping that way, we are going to resist it. Rather, who I see becoming autocratic are the people who espouse constant buzzwords. They use the word fascism as a sort of replacement for bad guy. You're a fascist. It's basically, you're the bad guy, which implies I'm the good guy. And I have a right to attack you and deny you and shut you down and deplatform you and cancel you. That's autocratic. When that's handed down from the top, I am calm. I'm just passionate. There's a difference between calm and, or there's a difference between irate and passionate. Some of this stuff I'm genuinely passionate about because I'm hoping make the right calls, play the right plays, and people will come around and capitulate eventually. We're fighting zombies here, my guy. Oh, you're telling him to calm down. No, he's fine. He's actually not wrong to tell me not to support gay marriage. Right? As a Christian, that's true. I can't support gay marriage. But as a lover and as a friend, I can't tell people, you can't do that. God will hate you if you do that. It's not my place. That's not how you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. You know what I mean? But we're not trying to serve Beelzebub either. Right? A lot of it's about intent. A lot of it's about moderate. So a lot of what the Bible hints at is, it doesn't tell you never drink wine. It tells you to keep a sober mind. So drink wine. Be sober-minded, though. It's nuance. It's let people, if they so choose, live their lives and face the consequences of their actions. Protect people as much as reasonably possible, insofar as you don't impose, but you apply positive pressure in a friendly manner. You say, hey, look, I see you, and I want to be clear, some things concern me. But if you decide to go forward, I'm not going to stop you, but I am going to pray about it, and I am concerned about you. That's a different place than if you do that, God will judge you and you're going to hell. Like, fuck off. The Westboro Baptist Church pisses me off, man. Places like that really... I have a real issue with churches that do wrong because they mar the image of the Christian. They make it look like we're all a bunch of pseudo-terrorists almost, that we're willing to harass and condemn. And that's not our place. Our place is to love. Our place is to be Christ-like, to be spitting images of Jesus in the Spirit. Simple. You want to read about the character of Jesus, and you know exactly what we're supposed to be. But the problem is a lot of people misinterpret even that. Even from the historical sources, they misinterpret. They make Jesus out to be this sort of holier-than-thou weirdo. And in reality, he was just a dude who happened to also be the authority of God. Full stop. But he was humble. He didn't come into Jerusalem riding on a stallion. He rode a fucking donkey, dude. It isn't even so much about being a good person, although that's the crux of it, right? But the understanding is, look, you're never going to be a perfectly good person. It's also, it's moral posture or ethical posture, while also giving yourself the opportunity to forgive yourself and others for mistakes, deliberate and otherwise. The point is, don't dig up old skeletons out of people's closets and claim that to be their identity. Everybody's got mistakes. Everybody's made errors. Lots of people have acted out of desperation or out of survival or out of anger, or out of transient malice, and those are human failings. None of us are immune to those, and we need to have more compassion for one another. Right? From a functional perspective as a Christian, just looking at what the faith is supposed to produce, it is supposed to guide people to be more coherent, functional, cooperative humans with care and genuine kindness in their heart and a posture towards empathy, but without taking it legalistically. Right? The Pharisees wanted Jesus stoned because he was healing people on the Sabbath, because it's a law to not do work on the Sabbath. But Jesus established, look, it's better to do good work on the Sabbath if you're going to work on the Sabbath. Like, the whole point is, don't take the law so rigidly that you use it to prevent a good thing from happening. Cheese it a little bit for the greater good, not what the churches have often done, which is sacrifice a few of the people for the greater good, or sacrifice the goodwill of the people for the greater good. That's nonsense. It's to establish that balance. Enough order that it doesn't devolve into degeneracy, but permitting enough chaos to drive novelty and good growth. But I'll reiterate it one more time. I'm a Christian nationalist, not insofar that I want to impose Christianity or Christian ideals on people, but that the citizens of my own country benefit from the kind of perspective that a true, genuine Christian has on the people. That is, you, the individual, deserve the respect from the government as if you were a child of God, because you are. You are not livestock. You are not property. You are not a statistic. You are not just another person, not just another voter. You are a living child of a living God and deserve that kind of respect. I'll say it again. If you want the Father's favor, do well by his children. That's the kind of Christian national I am.